Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. This is going to be another First Impressions video. In today's First Impressions video, we are taking a look at yet another Mossberg 590 SBS. And quickly guys, before this video gets started, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to this video's sponsor. This video's sponsor is going to be Air Venturi. Air Venturi has a wide variety of PCP air guns. I've been taking a look at the Avenge X. It's a really cool air gun. It has an air tank underneath that can be swapped out for a larger air tank that is super easy to swap. It has an adjustable stock, and it's just kind of a really comfortable 25 cal air gun. I have been running that with a little tiny ACOG on there that looks a little funny, but it's a very cool package. You can put some pretty wild glass on there to get some very accurate shots. They have a bunch of other accessories, so definitely check them out at any of the air gun retailers online and thank them for supporting this video. Man, I got something about shotguns, you know? I think at this point we have just kind of figured that out, that I just have this infatuation with shotguns, and more specifically the combat shotgun. It is something that I just flat out like. And I have a bunch of different shotguns at this point, and a lot of the time you can pick up these short-barreled shotguns on Form 4s for dirt cheap. And primarily what that is going to be is law enforcement trade-in shotguns. So all over the place, departments are consistently getting rid of their shotguns. Nowadays, they're replacing a lot of shotguns with standard rifles, and a lot of the less than lethal shotguns are being replaced by other less than lethal options. So as the consumer, you're going to start seeing more and more, as we are right now, SBSs popping about. Even more so, you'll generally see them at a really low dollar sign, and that's because not a lot of people want to deal with this. The pump action shotguns are almost always pretty beat up on the outside. They have a lot of wear marks, a lot of dings, a lot of dents, and generally internals are fine, but sometimes they're not. And you know, not many people want to go through the Form 4 process, or in other words, the same process to purchase a suppressor to do a short barrel shotgun. Especially these days when Form 1s are going so quickly, it just makes a lot more sense to do this with a 590 Shockwave. But I just keep running across these freaking SBSs at prices that I just can't turn down. And you know, I don't necessarily mind the Form 4 process in this case because I at least work at the shop that I am transferring it at, so I can at least get my hands on it occasionally. This 590 SBS is the exact same as my other SBS 590. So we have the rifle ghost ring sights up here. We have the +1 in the mag tube, and really that's about it. Now my other 590 SBS, you guys remember I didn't speak all that highly of because I had that really short, really tiny freaking child soldier SGA stock on the back. It was really more designed as kind of that tactical, practical shotgun in a very short overall package. In this case, I saw this one, I'm like, you know what? This one's gotta be the wood retro classic gun. And I started my search out there trying to find some 500 or 590 traditional wood stock sets. Now, luckily, the 500 furniture is all over the place for shotguns. You're going to find it all over the map. Now, what is interesting about trying to find a wood forend for a 590 SBS is that this has the shorter, I think it's 6 3/4 action arm here in the front. It does not have a modern standard full-length action arm that you would see on any pump action Mossberg of today. So you would be looking for the same furniture that would go on a Mossberg Shockwave And lucky enough, for a long time back in the day, we're talking probably about 70s to 80s, most of the early Mossberg pump shotguns had short action arms, and they were mostly 6 3/4. So when you're looking for wood furniture for a 590 SBS like this, you want to make sure that it's 6 3/4, and then there's a few different other options out there. I scored this off eBay for about 20 bucks, and it is a little bit nicked up here or there, but it just goes with the overall look of the shotgun, and I love it. It does sneak over the receiver a little bit there, and as you can see, that just looks pretty freaking awesome. So no issues at all with installing that. Popped right on, no problem. And then for the stock, I did go to Numerich, and I was able to find on Numerich the stock for, I think, like, again, 19 or 30 bucks. It was super, super cheap. They did say it came with a plastic recoil pad. It really did not, because essentially what came with it was a charred up, moldy piece of plastic that was not fitted to the stock. It was screwed on with like 2 jagged wood screws, and it was undersized, so there's really nothing you can do about it. So a good friend of mine at the shop that I work at hooked me up with a Kick Ease recoil pad and also fitted it for me, and he did a great job. This is the first fitted recoil pad I've ever messed with, and man, it is pretty freaking awesome. A little bit of a process to get it all fitted up properly, but it does a great job at just taming down that punishing recoil of a shorter shotgun. And in this case, the recoil, unlike my Shorty SGA stock, was pleasant. I had absolutely no complaints about recoil. I have a much more natural length of pull with the wood stock, and that Kick Ease pad, man, it just gets it set up so nicely. So I really, really enjoyed that. I did have this Galco side saddle, this leather side saddle, on one of my first shotguns, my first 500A from back in the day. I loved it on that shotgun, and I still do, but to my knowledge, Galco does not make this side saddle any longer. As far as like an actual practical purpose behind it, not much, right? Reloading from back here, really no way you do it is gonna be great. So this is not high speed, but it does give you a few extra rounds on the stock, and this is really not as much of a practical build out, although you could use it for that. It's just more of a cool retro shorty. So I decided to move it from that 500A that's in a little bit more of a practical role to this shotgun here as more of just a looks cool type of roll. And to top it all off, I have the wonderful Versa Carry sling. This is a cotton web sling. This one's in khaki with brass furniture, and you got the leather up here at the front. I am so unbelievably sad to say that this is no longer being produced by Versa Carry. I scoured the internet and found one store. It was like a random camping store that also sold firearms accessories, and they had this on there, and they were blowing them out at like $27.99 a piece. I looked, and in one day the stock number went in half. I decided to grab one. The following day they were all gone, and I have not been able to find one since. I've been able to see like weird knockoff ones on eBay, but you know, really unfortunate. I don't know why more people didn't know about these slings or really feature these slings, and I think it is a huge mistake from Versa Carry to get rid of these slings. In fact, with everything that Versa Carry has, almost nothing that they have really interests me all that much with the style, and then they just drop this absolutely banging sling and decide to discontinue it almost immediately. So, you know, it is what it is. If you guys are looking for it, you know, you might have a little bit of a hard time finding it. But on this little shorty here, man, does it make this thing look absolutely awesome. And it is pretty practical. I mean, carrying it around at the range is still a great sling. It's just not really high speed, if you will. The FF Pocket Gunsmith did coat this, I believe it's Armor Black, and it's more of kind of a matte, semi-matte type of finish, and it does a really good job of just making this thing look brand spanking new. This was another one that, you know, it was just really rough. There was a lot of dings, a lot of scratches, no rusting, but it was kind of a mess. So he went ahead, took it all apart, Cerakoted it, and geez, I don't know what he did, but it has to be the smoothest Mossberg action I have ever felt in my life. So he worked some black magic gunsmithery on there, and I don't know what he did, but it's incredible. And everybody I hand this shotgun to, they rack the action. They're like, oh my God. And you know, it's just, I'm lucky to have this thing. So I'm pretty jazzed up about it. And that is going to wrap up this short and sweet video of this incredible SBS, adding it to the collection once again. If you guys have any other questions about this particular shotgun or anything else on the channel, please throw them down below in the comment section, and I absolutely will get back to you. While you're down there, head up to the description for the ways to support the channel, and as always, stay tuned for more great videos coming soon.